So that leaves the final conference, the SEC. Now, we saw Georgia. They're the two-time defending national champions. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to pick Georgia to win the SEC again. But before we do that, couple of things, well, actually a few things that we do need to consider. Georgia, first and foremost, they are replacing their quarterback. They lost a good portion of their defense from the last couple of seasons to both the transfer portal and the NFL draft. A lot of pros drafted from Georgia. Stetson Bennett, not there anymore. But not only that, historically speaking, you want to guys know the last time that we saw a three-peat in high-end Division I football at the FBS level? I'll give you guys a minute to take a guess. It's not who you think it's going to be. I promise you, it's going to be good. The Minnesota Golden Gophers was the last team to pull off a three-peat into major Division I college football. This was from 1934 to 1936. That was during the Great Depression, the last time that we saw a three-peat in college football. Now, I said it before, I'll say it again, just because something hasn't happened doesn't mean it can't happen. And Georgia is still going to be capable of winning a national championship. I would not be surprised if Georgia goes undefeated in the regular season and they end up going to Atlanta. But not only is history not going to be on their side, not only did they lose quite a bit in the transfer portal to the NFL draft, but I have some concerns about the culture at Georgia. I think it's starting to get, there might be some distractions that might prevent them from reaching that ultimate goal. Now, the Atlantic Journal-Chronicle probably has overblown it with the sexual assault allegations in terms of Georgia, the coaching staff rallies around their players accused of sexual assault. And I don't have to tell you guys that sexual assault obviously should be taken very seriously, regardless of whether it's done to a man, woman, or child. But I also do believe in, being innocent until proven guilty beyond a shadow of a doubt. And the AJC, they, let's say the examples that they give was on the sketchy side. They have been thrown to the fire by various other college football shows. And Georgia, even before the SEC Media Days, it's getting ready to go right now. We are witnessing the SEC Media Days going in place as we are in the process of the SEC Media Days. They released a 9-page report asking the AJC to retract that article because not a lot of substance to it. There's a headline. Some people that want to see Georgia's downfall ran away with it. I'll be the first to recognize that. So, but that being said, the racing at Georgia, I think we're starting to see some cracks. We're starting to see some culture issues with the younger guys that did not play much the past couple of years that will be expected to contribute heavily for that Georgia football team. So I look over to the West, therefore, in terms of who I think could win the SEC this year. I'm looking at there's Alabama. Alabama is certainly a very popular choice, but here's the thing with Alabama. We don't know who's going to be the starting quarterback for Alabama, and so much so they actually went to the transfer portal to get the quarterback out of Notre Dame, Tyler Buchner. He followed as an offensive coordinator to Alabama. But I don't know if Tyler Buchner's that dude. We seen him play sparingly in 2021 as well as 2022. In 2021, he threw for 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. And in 2022, before he got hurt, he threw 3 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. So actually more interceptions than touchdowns. I'm not great at math, but that's not good. That is certainly not good at all. He was starting the game that Notre Dame lost to Marshall. That's really all that you need to know. As we're actually going to take a quick break here real quick. As my dog is going to have to go outside for a quick moment. So we'll be right back to try to finish up that point. But just know that Tyler Buchner isn't necessarily that guy. All right, so we're back from that. Sometimes due to calls with the dogs, being a dog lover myself, obviously, but yeah, to get back to what I was saying, I don't think Tyler Buchner's that guy. And granted, I don't think Alabama would need whoever ends up starting at the quarterback position because it's not a shoo-in for Tyler Buchner to start. He might not win the job. They have not named a quarterback as of the recording of this video. But, Alabama does have plenty of talent on the offensive side of the ball. We know this. Defense should be a little bit better, but I am worried about Alabama if they get into high-scoring games. Can their offense keep up? Can the quarterback make enough plays to win the game? And that's a big question mark for me personally. They'll still be really good. I think the floor for this Alabama team is 10-2 of them losing to Texas and them losing to the team who I really do think could very well win the SEC, LSU. I think this is LSU's time to shine. They overexceeded expectations in year number one. Brian Kelly's in his first year at LSU ends up going 10-4. They went to Atlanta, lost in Atlanta to Georgia, but they went to Atlanta, and then they end up winning their bowl game to get to their 10th win. And the teams that they also lost to, they lost to Florida State, but Florida State turned out to be a very good team as well. Schedule for LSU is going to be tough. It's not going to be easy to navigate. Just looking at this schedule, not going to read through the whole thing. Florida State, that first game of the season is September 3rd. That's going to really tell what type of season LSU could have, if they could have college football aspirations, or is it going to be a tough road for them to get into the playoff, basically having to win out. That's going to be a really big deal early on in the season. Going to more intriguing week 1 games. And then looking for the rest of the schedule, got Arkansas on September 23rd, but that's at home. Ole Miss on the road September 30th. Auburn should be better, but they will also be at home October 14th. They will have a little bit of break. They're hosting Army, but biggest game of the season from an SEC standpoint, that Alabama game. Can they beat Alabama 2 years in a row? Can Jalen Daniels, who was pretty good last year, should be better, comes back with some experience, and I have a absolute crush on teams that have experienced starting quarterbacks, especially starting quarterbacks that are at the very least above average. That Alabama game, it's going to be electric in Bryant-Denny Stadium. We don't see it as hostile very often because, Alabama has always assumed that they're going to win and take you off the field. That Texas game for Alabama is going to be rocking. This LSU game, same thing. First weekend in November as well. That's going to be electric. But if they can get past Alabama, they finish out with Florida. Florida is still rebuilding. And then they have Texas A&M, which who knows what Texas A&M is going to be like November 25th. They might be the wild card as well. But this year, with the amount of talent that LSU has acquired, LSU's did a pretty good job in transfer portal as well. They finished with the number 6 recruiting class, so they added a serious amount of talent too. I think as LSU, I think this is their year. I think that this is their year, that they are going to do it, that LSU, they will play Georgia in Atlanta for the conference championship, and they will go ahead and they will beat the Georgia Bulldogs, possibly going to the college football playoff. A lot of it's going to hinge on that Florida State game. They won't be out of it, but at the same time, that doesn't help their chances if, for whatever reason, they do not end up handling their business, right?